Okay, welcome to our channel. So today I'm going to be asking my husband Sam a couple of questions about how he started his business, when it began, and how it's been going so far. Stay tuned. Hey babe.
Hello.
Welcome to the channel.
Hey.
Okay, so when did you start your business?
Okay. Hello everybody. My name is Sam. I'm the dad. I'm the husband. Well, you should know by now. But yeah, so I started my business in 2018, and so basically I run a trucking company by the name of D&S Logistics and Transport, and I started in 2018. So I've been in business for about 5 years. This was established out in Texas, Dallas to be exact. As of now, I'm operating out of Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma to be exact, and the surrounding areas. So yeah, so that's when we started the business.
Okay, what made you start the business? What was your why?
Okay, so my why I started the business, I mean, I had several things that was going on with me at the time. So basically I was like an analyst for a mortgage company, and it was a pretty big mortgage company, and I got paid pretty well. Was getting close to some pretty good money, but one day I just was sitting at my desk, and I just went and thought about it, and really I thought to myself, and I said, do I really want to be behind a desk for the rest of my life or until I retire? So I really thought I really wanted to do something hands-on, something that required me to use my hands, or just be a little bit more productive. So that's when trucking came into mind, and yeah, it was all up from there.
Okay, so what was the first step you took?
Okay, so the first step I took was, I did my research. So I'm not like everybody else where I heard a whole bunch of people were in trucking, and I don't know, hey, I gotta jump into trucking just because everybody else is doing it. No, I basically just had an interest, in trucks, and I knew freight is something that moves. I knew that, at any time, whether it's in a recession, whether it's times are hard, freight always moves. This is a little saying that a guy that I actually buy my trucks from, Gary out in Dallas, he once told me, there's the only thing that actually never came on a truck is the air that we're breathing, basically. So I mean, the sweater, the shirt, the shoes, everything always comes in a truck, one way or the other. So yeah, definitely.
Okay, so once you did your research, what did you have to establish first?
Okay, so once I did my research, and it's kind of like a step-by-step basis. So most importantly, you have to establish your LLC. So an LLC can pertain. So a lot of people start these companies. I personally started it as a partnership. Me and my brother. So we started the business as a partnership, and then I ended up having to run the business by myself. But for the most part, I started it as a partnership. So you have two different types of LLCs you can have. You have a sole proprietorship, and then you also have the partnership. So at the moment, I'm a sole proprietorship, meaning I'm the only member in the business, so I make the decisions for the business. So the first part is you start the LLC. So the LLC, that costs about $300, and once you start that, it varies from state to state, but in Texas at the time when I did start it, I paid my $300. I did it online, by the way. You can actually go to the Secretary of State and started from there, and they do have an office in Texas. But for the most part, a lot of these things are, it's online. So yep, I went to the Secretary of State, started the LLC. That basically has, I believe, maybe like a 30-day period for them to actually just mail you your certificate of formation, which is saying that you own the business, and hey, this is a business that is operating in the state of Texas or whichever state that you're operating in. And then after that, I went ahead and applied for my DOT number. So this is kind of gets a little bit confusing for a lot of people. So you have a DOT number and you have an MC number. So an MC number basically is something that you need if you're operating interstate. So interstate means you're going into different states to, you know, conduct business there, or you're making deliveries in different states. So and then intrastate, basically you don't really need an MC number. So meaning you would just be operating within that state, which is maybe the state of Texas, state of Oklahoma. So I signed up for an interstate DOT. So that basically, you know, entails, you know, I can do business in several different states, you know, wherever I like, basically. So and that's through the FMCSA, which is you know, where you get your DOT number, and that also costed about $300. So all in total, I was out of pocket between about $600 to $700 between the LLC and the DOT.
Okay, and with all of this, how much capital do you need to start?
So you
with
don't
all
really
these
need,
payments?
You don't really need as much capital to get started. For the most part, once you start your LLC and your DOT, you know, basically that will, right there, should be under $1,000. So for the most part, just depending on if you have the capital, you know, luckily I had the capital to start my business, and a lot of things that I did, I've kept my expenses low, because when I did buy my truck, I bought my first truck. It was cash, so I have definitely.
So with you buying the truck, is it better to buy or to rent? Because there are some people that will not have enough money to just buy it on demand.
Yeah, no, leasing is okay. You know, you can either lease or buy. You know, leasing is fine. You have companies like Penske, Enterprise, Ryder. You know, you even have, you know, Budget. I know some guys that use Budget trucks. So I mean, either way you do it, you know, you can still be successful in this business. You know, so leasing is also a way to go. I just, you know, personally, just with how I've fashioned my business, I do rent sometimes. I do lease trucks, you know, sometimes depending on the need. But for the most part, I always have one of my trucks that I own running, you know, at all times.
Okay, so what was the first truck you bought?
Okay, so the first truck I bought was a 2012. It was a Freightliner M2. So this is kind of like, you know, and it's like a box truck, 26 footer with a lift gate. So that was the first truck I bought, and it was a great truck. You know, it got me through a lot. You know, it ended up having some issues and had to get rid of it, but for the most part, that was the first truck that I got. But you know, now that the truck that I'm currently using is it's a Peterbilt 337. It's also a 26-foot box truck. But if you tell me, you know, Peterbilt or Freightliner, I'll always tell you Peterbilt, because it's more of, how can I explain it? Maybe Mercedes and Lexus.
So just preference.
So it's just more of a preference, but you know, Peterbilt is definitely a really strong truck. I haven't had any major issues as I've had the truck. With my Freightliner, I did have quite a few things I had to fix, you know, like the DEF system and, you know, quite a few things. But, you know, overall, you know, either way it goes, trucks need attention, and, you know, it's not like a human being where, you know, if there's a certain problem with it, it has to be attended to. If it's not attended to, it's just gonna continue to get worse and worse and worse.
Okay. And does mileage also play a big factor in the trucks?
Yes, mileage does, but not so much, because it depends on how the truck was run. So you have trucks that run interstate, and you have trucks that run intrastate. So just depending on how the truck was maintained and taken care of, it's all a hit or miss. And sometimes it's just like rolling a dice. You can find a good truck, you can find a bad truck. When it comes down to box trucks, you know, a lot of them come from rental companies that people buy, and it just depends. If the truck was used to run heavy, you know, then that truck's lifespan is probably shortened, you know. And then if you have, you know, certain trucks, luckily I bought my truck out of a lease, so, you know, they stayed on top of you know, maintenance and all those things. So.
Okay, so once the truck was bought, what was your first contract, and how did you go about finding that contract?
Okay, so once I bought the truck, my first contract, And this is where it actually gets very tricky. So contracts, a lot of people think, hey, let me go ahead and buy the truck. Yes, but once you buy the truck, then what? You've invested all this money into buying a truck, but what is the truck doing? It's not making you any money at the time. So once I got that started, once I bought the truck, of course, time was of the essence, and I had to start doing my groundwork. So basically, if you're an introvert, this business, it's a little bit hard to kind of navigate. If you're an introvert. So even if you're an introvert, you really have to step out of your comfort zone and get out there and communicate with people and network. So what I did is a lot of networking, communicating. I had to be willing to go to whatever company it was and just drop my business card on the table and just kind of go from there. So my first contract was actually with a company out of Fort Worth, Texas. And it was a very good company. I worked with them for a little while, but this was appliance delivery. So this is basically, it was a company like, your Home Depot, your Lowe's, or, whatever company. So basically what I did on a daily basis, this was about 14 to 16-hour days. Of course, it was pretty crucial. You would wake up at 4 in the morning, and basically be back at like midnight the same day. So basically I was installing refrigerators, dishwashers, washer and dryers, and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so with that business, did you need insurance because you're stepping into people's homes? Yep. That must have caused...
So insurance actually plays a very big part of it. Definitely, don't buy a truck and don't get insurance is what I'm trying to say. So insurance is the main key. So for me, I have a $3 million insurance. That basically covers everything about the truck. For the truck itself, that basically is going to cover the truck in case it gets into an accident or anything happens to the truck. And then you have your motor cargo insurance. So I sometimes I carry like about $100,000 for the motor cargo. That basically protects you for the type of stuff that you're hauling. So being that I was hauling refrigerators, wash and dryers, this was some pretty high value stuff. So of course they required the insurance to be a little bit higher because of just in case of anything, incidentals do happen. And then on top of that, I had to have a workers comp insurance. That basically, for whoever I'm riding with, whether it's a helper, maybe I hire on a driver, that basically covers them in case they get injured, especially being that you're on a lift gate, you're going into people's homes. It's very crucial to always have coverage just in case of anything happens. And then the other one is, I think they had like an extra $1 million just in case anything happens to the place where you're going to deliver. So basically you walk into, and it happened to me on several occasions where I hook up a washer and dryer and I guess maybe the hoses maybe are not tight, or maybe it could be the customer's house is maybe a little bit older and the their connections are a little bit older and they need to upgrade them. But I had times where you connect everything is good, and then as soon as you leave, hey, they've called in a claim and basically, oh hey, my whole house is flooded because of the wash and dry that you put in. At that point, that goes to your insurance. So the number of claims gets pretty high pretty quickly, just depending on how it goes. And that's one of the reasons I ended up getting out of the business, just due to the fact that it had too many claims that I had to attend to. So basically that means the more claims that you get, the more your insurance goes up. So to a certain extent, if those claims keep going higher and higher and higher, nobody's going to be able to give you insurance. So basically that means you could go out of business. So
okay. Yeah. So, and how did you go about finding different contracts? After that contract, where did you move to, and how was that process? Is it easy getting contracts?
Yeah. So contracts, it just depends on where you go. Like I said, being an introvert, you're definitely going to want to step out of that shadow and just get out there and talk to people and just gather information. So for me, I literally went door to door speaking to people. I walk into, if I see anything, if they have anything to do with the trucks, if they literally had a truck parked outside, I would go there and want to find out. Hey, what do you guys do for for business? Hey, oh, my name is Sam. I'm running this type of company, and hey, do you guys have any needs for in this area or that area? If it was a no, hey, please do keep my business card. If a need does arise, go ahead and give me a call. So you really have to be willing to network with people. So I got some of my leads online. But a lot of my leads I got them basically by walking into a place and putting a face to the person who was in charge, and them putting a face to who you are, and just it kind of goes from there. So secondly, where I actually got my other contract was working regionally. So basically it was doing some contemporary furniture. So this ranged from your $15,000 tables to your $50,000 couch, and like some pretty high-end stuff. So this was regional, and I made those deliveries to the state of Louisiana, Oklahoma, and some of them in the outskirts of Texas. But mainly that was regional, and it was like a 24 hours on, 24 hours off, which required you and a team driver basically to kind of stay within your logging hours. So if you guys don't know, in the trucking industry, anytime you're doing anything interstate, you're required to have an e-log. So your e-log basically, one driver can only drive out to about 11 hours before that driver needs to stop and get some rest. So that's kind of how it was. And as you start your trucking company, you get to learn how things kind of work, and the pros and the cons. But basically listening to me, kind of tell you about how some things to avoid and some things to do, and some do's and don'ts. Basically. So because I learned the hard way, I went through a weight station, and basically I was running the logbooks on my phone, and of course they told me, hey, come inside, let's have a quick chat. So after that whole quick chat, they did an inspection on my truck, and after that inspection they had to put me out of hours or out of service for 10 whole hours, meaning my truck could not leave that weight station for 10 hours, and I was in the state of Arkansas. Wow. So basically, it's kind of just what you know, but a lot of things you kind of go about it and you learn as you go. Yeah.
Okay, babe. So what would what advice would you give someone who wants to start a business? What would be 5 points you would give them?
Okay, point number 1.
Yes.
Have a game plan. The biggest part of it is having a game plan, knowing what you're really going to do and what you want to achieve, whether it be in the first year, second year, third year. Have a game plan. It's very hard to say that, because for me, I didn't even have a game plan really. But just have a game plan. Have your mind focused on what you're trying to achieve. And then secondly, I would definitely advise to go ahead and find a diesel mechanic. A mechanic is very key to your running, because that's the person that will help you in case your truck breaks down. They're the person that will get you back on the road or whatever you need. A lot of people will rely on the dealerships. Dealerships are very high. I think at the moment it's almost about $300 just to get a PM. For you guys that don't know what a PM is, it's a preventative maintenance for a truck. So basically, when you get a mechanic that's dedicated just to you or maybe other drivers, they get you out of whatever pickle you may be in. Sometimes you might call them. They can save you so much money from getting your truck towed, and for the most part, for me, I try to stay away from having to tow a truck at any time, because those costs are exorbitant. And then thirdly, I would definitely say is have a backup savings account. just, you know, money that, you know, just in case anything goes wrong, you know, just in case you need to buy new parts, or whatever the case may be. It's always important to have a savings account separate from the account that you use for your running. Just have something where you're just putting something aside. And then the fourth part is definitely having to make sure you're taking care of all your paperwork. So paperwork is very key. Make sure you're keeping your receipts, you know, at the end of the year, you know, whatever bills you might have, toll invoices, just everything, any type of paperwork that pertains to your business, your bill of ladings. Make sure you're having a good filing system to just keep track of, you know, each and every document that pertains to your business, because, you know, at any time it could arise where you might need to provide that documentation. And then my fifth point is be very consistent. You have to be consistent in whatever you do. Don't let a no dictate what your business is going to be. So let's say you walk into somewhere and you ask somebody about you know, a contract. Hey, do you have a contract? Just because they say no and that they can't work with you doesn't mean there's not another company that will work with you. You know, so just make sure you're not taking no for an answer. Make sure you're always encouraged. You're wanting to always just go the extra mile in whatever that you do. So for me, I have a saying where I believe anything that you do should always be legendary. Make sure it's, you know, doing it 110%. As long as you're putting in your 110% into something, trust me, it's very rare that something fails, only for reasons that are not maybe of your own. But for the most part, if your heart, you know, your mind, your soul, everything is into it, trust me, you'll do very well in this business. And you know, like I said, you know, I've been doing okay. You know, 5 years. I've had my ups, I've had my downs, but for the most part, you know, I would definitely recommend somebody to get into the trucking business, because I mean, the pros are definitely endless. You know, you can, so many things you can work around in it, but you know, it does have some cons, but the pros definitely beat the cons. So that's it, and thank you so much for watching, and hopefully you like and subscribe, and make sure you follow up. Maybe we'll hit you with another video.
Yeah, we'll definitely create like a series, just if they do have any other questions regarding business, trucking, they can email, write to us, and we'll just continue that series. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks, babe. Bye.